So with a super.
Yeah, oh, they're great cars.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that there was a counterintuitive relationship between prices and demand.
But they did sell it, and just like Harvard or
Yeah.
something, whatever, self-promotional educational institutions managed to sell their high price in the market. I'd like to ask, just because we have two newly elected state reps here, what their view, we have Dave Close here and Terry Roy, what their view of the, since money is a floating shell game here that we're dealing with, whether we should have the current property tax funding schools or a sales and or income tax.
I came to take in as much information as I could,
What?
and I'm glad to have been able to do that.
No, but I'm asking what's your view on that.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand, and I came to take in as much information.
Are you saying that
and
you
it's
don't
been
have a-
very appreciative, and I've learned a lot. And
I'm glad
it's going to take me a good bit of time to put it together and figure out how it influences a whole bunch of different perspectives.
But you haven't given this any thought before then?
Not that I'm going to get into it in any depth, really, no.
Well, you're the state rep, that's why I'm asking. You
Thank you.
supposedly are going to, this is, right now it's in the works.
I appreciate your concern. Thank
Well,
you.
it's more than just appreciating it, I'd like to hear what your opinion is.
I'm not here as a politician.
Well, yes,
I'm
you
here-
are.
I'm here to take in.
I'm sorry, you're a representative of me in Northwood. I'd like to hear your position. You in fact revealed the fact when we were actually running against each other, that because I didn't run against Mr. President, Dr. Corson. So there's the revealed that you were going to be very communicative with our community.
Yeah,
So I'm giving you an opportunity.
I appreciate it. And I got to think about a whole bunch of different thoughts here. Now's not the time that I'm going to get into
I
it.
got it. You don't have any. Mr. Roy,
Yes, sir.
do you have a view?
Well, I certainly do not favor an income tax to fund school funding, if that's what your question was, I believe.
Well, let me just, there's three choices that are in the offing, the current property versus sales and...
Well, I think to the presenter's point tonight, we need to look at what we're paying for. I don't hide the fact that I send my kid to a private school. He goes to a Catholic school in Gary, and I pay $5,000 a year, and he scores in the top percentile every year. And if I can get that for $5,000, why do we have to pay that much, triple that at a public school? Yeah, so I just, it's something in, maybe his model isn't right, maybe it is, but we need to have more of a discussion about what we are teaching versus what we're paying for it. Otherwise, there's no end to it. Okay, we can't afford the property tax anymore, let's shift it to something else. It's just the same, money's fungible, so,
I just want to throw out, there's more than 2 state reps in the room. Let's put that one over.
Oh, he was
Oh, I'm
hoping
sorry.
that no one was gonna
What
notice.
What's that?
Sorry,
I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus, Alan.
Would you like to express, I'm glad I know that now, so what would be your preliminary view? We have a no comment, we have some view here, and now yours.
I tend to think that anything that empowers parents to get more involved in the education of their children, I'm for. So school choice sure seems like the way to go, because that empowers parents with more say in the education of their child, which I think is a positive thing. The fact that we can improve education and save money seems like a pretty compelling argument for school choice. And I have one more question for you, and Harry, that'll make a second. You mentioned you attended Mr. Valinsky's presentation.
Yes, I did.
Has he reciprocated? And I'd be real curious to know, that Cato graph is really compelling evidence. Has he ever been shown that graph that you're aware of, and how would you respond?
You asked him a question that was related
Yeah,
to
I asked him a question and he gave a non-answer, but I didn't have that graph with me blow up, so I couldn't show it to him.
Right.
But it's sort of, I would like everybody to see it, which is why I'm doing these talks and writing this stuff. And I would like that to be burned into everybody's brain when they say, look, we need more money, this has to go up, this has to go up. Why? It clearly doesn't make a difference.
He's
Why?
giving a
Yeah.
presentation next week.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
that's
right.
Go,
So take
chart
this with it.
and
Take
ask
this
him
with
that
you.
question.
And say, what do you have to say about
And
this?
let us know his answer.
Yeah.
Will do. I think that's next Wednesday at 3.
I think somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He is also going to be in Belmont, and I would like a copy of that because that's next door to where I'm from,
Okay.
and I would like to ask.
Yeah.
You know where to find it.
Yes.
Is that on your website?
Yeah, there's a whole series of those. There's probably 20 something now. There's 7 more that'll go up, and probably another dozen after that. Like I said, they're all very short. They're one issue. But yeah, I would love it if people would do things like that and go and say, hey, you know what? How come you are spending all this time talking about money and not talking about achievement at all?
I would just throw out, I mean, to anybody you may already be aware of it, there's a site, it's a prolific site called Improve Education.
Okay.
Have you seen that at all? I can't think of the fellow who puts it up there. I think it's a one-man band. It's on YouTube. Well, he has his own website. So,
Is it .com.org?
I think it's org, but I'm not sure. But Improve Education, I almost have his name. Let me think of it for you. But because you put his name in there, it comes up. He writes a lot on his own, but what he does more is aggregate a whole bunch of education studies, articles, opinions worldwide, all kinds of stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, so just to throw this out, I didn't talk about it in this presentation, but if people, well, what should we do? What should we do? I mean, one of the things that's about to go up, has everybody seen Tomb Raider? No?
Yeah.
Thank God. Have you? So you remember the triangle of light that if you get it, you can go back in time, right? And I'm like, okay, if you had the triangle of light, you could just go back to 1998 and everything would be a lot less, right? But you'd be getting the same result.
Right.
For a lot less money. So here's the thing, you don't have the triangle of light. At least I don't think any of you has it. But what you have is a filing cabinet, and you could go to the filing cabinet and say, here's what we were doing in 1998. We didn't have these administrators, we didn't have these classroom nannies, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. We did have football, so let's keep that. And you could actually just go back to that and say, we're just going back to what we did in 1998 because it got the same results and it costs about a third as much, right? And if you need property tax relief, that is the quickest way to get it, right? It's right there. It's all in black and white. And the reason I mention going back rather than just saying, hey, let's cut our budget back to that number is, people have pointed out to me several times that if you do that, you will find superintendents will stand up and say, well, if we're going to cut the budget, we've got to get rid of football, we've got to get rid of music, we've got to get rid of arts. It's like, you know what, if you had that stuff in 1998, you can have it now. Just do it the way you did it then. So you could do that. I mean, in the sense that, it doesn't solve the problem because you were getting crappy results then, you'll get crappy results now at a much smaller price. But what it does is stop the bleeding and buy you some time, right? If you're bleeding, you get the tourniquet on first to stop the bleeding, then you deal with the source of the bleeding. And this is, I would love it if people would present that as an option, right? When they're talking, well, what tax rate should we have, and which towns should be donor towns, and which towns should be recipient towns, and do we need this? It's like, hey, why don't we just go back to 1998? Won't make a difference in achievement. Kids will get the same education they were getting then.
Is it 98 or 78?
98 was the Claremont cases. That was when the Supreme Court waded in.
I think you have some simplistic views. I've been involved since I started with children in school in 1967. And back then, you paid your property tax. You didn't pay it through your mortgage. So people came to the meeting because they got their property tax bill of $5,000, $4,000, whatever. They made sure they were involved in their government and knew what was going on in the school, which was the biggest part. You had a state board of education who gave, through the legislature, building aid. But they didn't say, we'll only pay for the basic school building. So poor towns, and I lived in Raymond, built a cement block building at the same time Amherst built this beautiful brick school with an auditorium, with a swimming pool, with tennis courts, and they got 45% building aid and Raymond got 30. So mistakes were made, which are still being made in government, because government thinks they can make one law that will cover everybody, and it won't.
Sure.
The basic thing is, if we were going to give school building aid, the legislature should have said, we'll give for the basic. If you
Right,
want an
that's right.
auditorium, swimming pool, and tennis courts, your community pays for it. Then we wouldn't say it's not fair, because it was fair. Government too often passes laws because they're trying to socially engineer society.
Sure.
It's all about.
But I mean, so you're
But
saying
back
about
in-
buildings, what I'm saying about content, right?
But back in 1970, when I started selling real estate,
You were born then?
you paid your taxes once a year.
Mhm.
December came, and March wasn't too far behind, so you remembered.
Yeah.
Now, people don't even know what they're paying. They don't understand that that mortgage payment also contains their tax payment.
My town knows, everybody in my town
No, we
knows they're
know.
paying their property
Yeah, we
taxes,
know.
and they get really upset every year.
Because your mortgage goes up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they
In
don't
my
rate
town,
too.
they
No,
really
I agree with you.
don't.
If you wanted to have a
Listen.
revolution in the United States, all you would have to do is stop tax withholding.
Yep.
That would be it. You would just say, everybody pay your taxes on April 15th.
Absolutely.
The federal taxes too, all
Right,
of them.
income tax.
Everything would change. So
The
yeah,
reason
I
they
agree
want
with you.
income taxes is because people don't see the little chip
That's
taken
right.
every week.
That's right.
If you make them pay a big amount, then they know when they're
Absolutely.
looking at their
I
government.
mean, that's part of it. Some people would also argue, and I tend to agree with them, that every time you funnel something through the state, it gives the state more power. Right? If they're giving you the money, then you have to jump to their tune. They tell you what to do, you gotta
Back
do it.
in 91 or 92, I got very involved because they were going to take Goals 2000, which had a social engineering to it.
Okay.
And so I said, I want to see the grant you wrote and what it gets us. The State Department of Education took 10% for administering. The SAU took 10% for administering, and then the school took 10%. So 30% of what the federal government gave in Goals 2000. And still to this day, that's the formula. Any grant is a contract, by the way. It's never a grant.
Okay.
Because if you look at that grant, the last page, 2 pages say, for this, you will have a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Yes,
You will
absolutely.
wear helmets.
That's right.
You will do this. You will. And in the Goals 2000, there was 2 pages of what we had to do for that money. Fought it like hell. And Ovid Lamontagne, who everybody thought was so great, was State Board of Education chairman. So he told the commissioner, go and see if each town can get it individually because we're getting so much pushback at the state level. And he let people go from the towns to get that grant, and the people in the towns didn't realize that's money coming in, but just like the grant saying, we'll give you this much money and you can hire 3 policemen, we'll pay the first year, next year we'll pay for 2, and the next year we'll pay for 1. But you've still got those 3 policemen
But
on
notice
there.
what we're doing here. We're talking about money, right? It's not about money. You could get along without those grants, and if you took the right, if you got the parents to motivate the kids and you got the kids to motivate themselves, you wouldn't need the money. You keep thinking, oh, we need that money because it'll somehow make things better, but it won't. It never does. It never has. So, but if we can get you focused on money, if, you know, the commissioner go, oh, here's a grant, here's some money you can get this, you can get that, then everybody's talking about money. And they're worried about, well, that town spent more than this town and they got reimbursed more than we did. Do you really need more than a cement building?